Hi everybody, seems you have stumbled across my very first episode of my spraying journals, or whatever I'm going to call it. I thought I'd make a bit of a weekly video journal of journal of just what I get up to in the weekly life of a spray contractor. So I'm based just out of Ashburton in Mid Canterbury in New Zealand, and so Mid Canterbury is the biggest area of flatland in New Zealand. And I am based further towards the sea, so most of my spraying is further away from the mountains, so you're not going to see me up on the sides of big cliffs or anything, unfortunately. Role as a spray contractor, I just work for a contractor, so I'm just one of the workers. So as far as I get involved, all I do is follow the instructions given to me, so I don't have anything to do with the agronomy as such. All I do is read the list that's given to me for a specific paddock and make sure it gets put onto the right paddock at the right time, and that's pretty much me. The only time I really ever get involved in deciding rates or anything of any spray is if I look at a recommendation and I think it looks wrong. That's the only time I'll ever really query any of the rates. And so I've been doing this for nearly 10 years. And so the reason I thought I'd start it now as such is because we've just had our harvest seasons coming to an end over here pretty much. All the wheat's off, all the barley, all the small seeds are pretty much all done. There's a little bit of carrot seed to do, I think, of around the place. And that's really about it. And this is me recording this on about the 20th of March. I kind of figure what I'll do is I'll just start recording them, and as each week carries on, I'll add in a little bit extra just to give you a bit of a sense of what we get up to around here, why we do what we do, and just what we have to deal with down this end of the world. Let's crack on into it, and we'll see what the season brings. So I couldn't possibly start a new series of spraying without immediately launching into glyphosate. This time of year spraying a fair bit, but it's only because it's at the actual end of the season. At this time of year we're cleaning up old crops and getting all the old weeds out, and in this first case we're actually spraying off a second round of glyphosate, simply because we've had a bit of regrowth. It was an old ryegrass seed paddock, and so there's a second round of growth coming through. And so this time of year, which is about the end of February, we're looking at clover, which is clover for seed. Again, everything I talk about here, unless I otherwise say it, is going to be for seed, to harvest for seed. And in the darker green paddock, freshly cut or freshly harvested ryegrass seed crop. So that's all been harvested, all the straw has been baled and taken off, and so now we're just we're killing off the rest of it. The other thing you'll notice is we do tram lining here, or controlled traffic, or whatever you call it, which is where we follow the same wheel marks every single time. Another really common sight at this time of year is stubble fires. So they're still really common over here. I know over in Europe they've banned them because of the air quality. However, apparently over here we don't really care about air quality too much, so away we go. It is a really effective way of cleaning up your old crop though, and getting rid of the old bugs. They really do battle surviving 800 degrees or 1,000 degrees, whatever a fire is. So it is extremely effective. It does get some of the locals in the town a bit wound up from time to time. And this one brings me nicely into what I'm spraying here, which is kale, which is going to be fed to cows over the winter. So that gets planted in about December, and then by the time winter rolls around, it's quite a tall leafy crop. And so what we're spraying for at this time of year is the white butterfly and aphids. This time of year, their numbers are pretty high. They've had all year to really get going. So we spray them with an insecticide to get the numbers back a bit, and that usually only needs one spray. As the days draw in and it starts getting a bit cooler, they tend to stop being as much of a problem. And now we're actually in an ex-kale paddock, which was last year's kale seed crop. And so what they've done is they've planted this into grass now. So Quite a lot of seed gets blown out the back of the header, and so we come through with a bit of MCPA when the grass is just getting going, and typically take care of that. Most of the green you can see in there is the volunteer kale that's growing, which we don't want, and so a bit of MCPA will take that out quite nicely. Speaking of kale, something similar we plant for a winter feed here as well is rape. Now what I'm spraying here is actually a bit of Roundup on top of some direct drilled rape. You can see the header runs from this paddock. It's an ex-barley paddock where it's dropped quite a lot of seed. So what I'm coming through here now is with a bit of insecticide and some glyphosate, which will take care of the green and let the rape grow out of the ground without too much competition. And that brings me to the end of today's video. So yeah, I'll try and do these things weekly and keep everybody up to date with what's happening. And then hopefully I can gain a bit of interest and they might get better and better, hopefully. See you all next time.